I was like fully in the flow of the intro and I realized I am not recording. Hi, welcome to the video. I am going to give you a behind the scenes tour of my filming setup and process. I'm going to show you all the little bits and bobs that I use to put a video together, and I am going to honestly review them. I will not be sugarcoating things. I have thoughts, I have pros, I have cons. None of these things, none of this video, absolutely nothing here is sponsored or gifted or PR or anything like that. So I am going to be very upfront. While my channel has existed for about 4 years now, I think we are just past the 4-year birthday of the channel. I would still consider myself very much kind of a beginner in this side of things. I don't have any fancy equipment. It is all very much like doing the best with what I have when I film a video. I still have loads to learn and loads of room for improvement. So I would definitely consider myself in the beginner category. So this will be great if you are considering setting up a channel and you're maybe overwhelmed by everything that is being said online about what you should buy and what equipment you should have. This is me making the best of the small investments that I've made over time to try and put out the best quality videos that I am currently able to do. So first, the set. I do not have a corner of my house that I can leave permanently set up for video filming. My house is quite small and I don't have that much real estate to work with. This is a corner of my bedroom that I have tidied up and put a chair in. Usually, right here behind me, usually I have a whole bunch of crap. Usually I have things like my hairbrush, my deodorant, my hairspray, my whatever. That's what goes here. Am I putting that in the background of a video? No, I want it to be tidy, I want it to be presentable, and I want it to be more aesthetically pleasing. So I clear all that off. I usually grab a picture off of my gallery wall. I have a gallery wall on the stairs and I just pull a poster down from it. So here today we have Snoopy. If I'm doing a Disney specific video, I will have my Powerline drawing and usually I will have my Disney pin board. So I will throw a few bits in the background to decorate and to just kind of like jazz it up. While me personally, I am taking up a lot of the shot and you're not really seeing a whole lot of what's going on behind me. I would rather it be dressed nicely than have all of my bits and bobs and just dust collecting junk out here. I want it to look nice. I also will usually have a candle for some warmth. Personally, in this scenario, I am using candles that I make myself. This is the only part of the video that I'm going to be like, hey, check it out. I will leave my shop on Etsy linked in the description box below. I make handmade soy candles using locally sourced ingredients. I'm very proud of them and I have just a small selection. I don't make things in huge batches. I make things in small intentional batches. So check out the shop, see if there's anything you like. I usually throw one of mine in the background there for a little bit of self-promotion, even though it's so far away you actually don't see the branding on it. But I'd rather have that there than say, you know, like a shop brand candle. I'm sitting on one of my kitchen chairs. I grab one of the chairs from my kitchen that I actually recently got. They're very comfortable. I have a vlog of me building them and putting the whole set together. I'll pop that in the description box below if you want to get a good look at them. But just grab a comfy chair that gets you at a good height for where you want to be in your shot. And you could be sitting here, depending on the video. There have been days I've sat here for 2 hours. So make sure it's a good comfy chair. Also for a while there, I was filming on a computer chair, like an office chair, which is a spinny chair. Now, in a lot of cases, that's going to be fine. For me, that meant I was constantly rocking. I was swinging myself around constantly, and it's not great when it comes to editing. Certain people aren't going to enjoy that visually, so just bear that in mind. That, you know, if you're the type of person who can't sit still on a swinging chair, that maybe just grab a nice steady stationary chair for this. Also, try and bear in mind if your chair squeaks. chances are your camera is going to pick up on that sound, and that's going to be an absolute nightmare when you're editing. You're going to get very self-conscious of it. Maybe your audience won't notice, but maybe they will. And of course, I pretty much always have a cup of tea when I'm filming a video. This is partly just for helping to hydrate my mouth and my throat, because I'm obviously talking a lot, but it's also, I find, a lovely atmosphere setter. That's not really a thing, but for my channel I really like to create an atmosphere of we're just two friends hanging out, we're just having a chat together, just you and me, we're having a sit down with a cup of tea and we're chatting about whatever it is the video is about, whether it's something Disney or beauty related, or we're just having a bit of a catch up and a bit of a life talk. I will pretty much always have a tea on the go. It helps to calm my nerves as well. It helps to make me feel a little bit more confident, a bit less self-conscious, and hopefully the vibe that it is creating for you of we're friends hanging out, it's translating that to me as well. One of the tips a lot of people use is pretend that you are talking to your friend, or pretend that you are talking to your target audience. And this just helps me get in that mood. That's the set, that's the atmosphere. They're all the like external bits around you that are gonna make the difference subconsciously to the like feel of the video. Moving on to talk about the equipment that I use. Well, thankfully today the sun is actually genuinely shining in my window. So I'm full natural light today, which makes me so happy. I love filming with just natural light, because the only other like filming light source that I have is just one little standard ring light. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a help. This is a big help, but when I move on to talk about my camera, lighting is going to be a huge factor in that conversation. So thankfully with the sun shining, that's doing so much for me for lighting right now that I actually don't even really need this. I haven't switched it on, but I will usually have it set up in front of me. It is on a small like handheld tripod, so the length can either be this long, or you can extend the legs to that long, and of course then they do pop out like a tripod. This was a gift, not like a hashtag gift, it was just a gift from a pal who, thank you if you're watching, who just knew I needed an extra bit of light in my videos. So she picked this up for me. I don't know where it came from specifically, but it is a very standard, just little tabletop ring light. It does have the little screw there. It came with a few extra bits of accessories that, you know, if you wanted to mount your phone in there, you could. And it is corded. So it's plugged in there now. So very basic little control panel here. You've got your on-off switch. There's 3 lighting modes. So you've got cool, you've got neutral, and you've got warm. See, like on my skin there, that's very blue light. And then there's a very neutral light, so it's not particularly warm or cool. And then there's a warm light, so like see how yellow and orange that made me already. There are up and down controls, so we can change the intensity of this to practically non-existent, or we can of course obviously have that at like maximum intensity, which, wow, look at that, woo! So like it's great, but thankfully today I'm not using it right now. Maybe a cloud will come, hopefully not, but if a cloud shows up before I'm done, I will have to switch this bad boy on. Already having to disrupt the shot because I have had to remove the tripod so that I can show it to you. So my camera is now propped up on a box. The tripod that I use is a Manfrotto, no, that's upside down. There you go, a Manfrotto. These are very, very good tripods. They come in, obviously, like Manfrotto create tripods of all different shapes and sizes. This is a particularly handy one because it is handheld. So the camera screws into the top here. Most digital cameras will come with a little tripod screw area. whatever that's called. I don't know, a receiver or receptor, I don't know. If you're not using a specific digital camera, if you're using your phone, you would just get the attachment to screw on the top of that. That would be a phone clamp. It didn't come with one. I think you would have to buy a bundle or buy one separately, or maybe even just have one lying around from, I actually personally have one lying around from back in the days of having selfie sticks. I just took the top off a selfie stick, and if I ever need to use it, I just pop it on the top of this, and that's it. See what you have lying around already before you go and buy something new, and see if it's something that you can work with. As for this, it was only 30 euros, so an absolutely terrific investment. They're very sturdy, well-balanced tripods. The top does move, so we press in this button here, I hold that in, and then we can rotate this part that the camera sits on, so we can get different angles. The legs do not extend on this, which is one of the main reasons that I actually chose this one, was because I bought it actually specifically for my Disney World trip a couple of years ago. And when you go to a Disney park, I believe Universal and other theme parks as well, when you're in that kind of environment, they don't allow extendable items. So they don't allow selfie sticks, they don't allow tripods that have like extendable legs. It's a health and safety thing, that's absolutely fine. I'm very happy to go along with that. But it did mean that because I wanted to have a handheld tripod that I could mount my camera on top of for vlogging and something to steady it, that this was going to pass security regulations and be totally fine. Also, I suppose might be worth mentioning, it does have these lovely little padded feet, so it's not going to scratch up your surfaces, and it's going to be nice and sturdy as well. It's not going to be slipping around. So this is what you can see when I film. But what I can see when I film is the fact that I am using my bed and 3 boxes and a tripod to get the height of the camera. I don't have a standing tripod. If I did, even in this particular area here, there's not a whole lot of space. So I probably wouldn't have a whole lot of room to set one up anyway. I've never had a standing tripod. I have always just grabbed whatever furniture, boxes for extra height, just makeshift to whatever height you need it to be. And I just set it up directly in front of me. And it's the most like pieced together setup. It's a bit tricky, it's a bit annoying because you have to constantly like take things and put things away and whatever, move your furniture around. But I've been making videos for 4 years, and while I have noticed the inconvenience of not having a standing tripod, and there are certain limitations to that, I can also perfectly set myself up for a sit down and talk to a camera kind of video by just getting creative and grabbing things that create height. Different shot again. What's different now? I've switched onto my phone because now I'm going to show you all about my camera, and I can't do that while I'm filming on it. I did used to film all my videos on my phone for maybe about a year. That being said, my first year on YouTube, I wasn't producing that many videos, so it's, you know, it's not a huge number, but I did spend a long time using just my phone, and I didn't really care for it because right now my lens is right here. I'm looking directly now at my lens. It's off center. I'm looking at myself on the screen now. I'm way over here. It looks like I'm not engaging with you, and I don't like that. Personally, for me, I can't not really look at the screen as I'm filming. I just like to be able to constantly have an eye on that and know that I'm recording and know that things are in shot. And this is a one-moment operation here, so I don't have somebody behind the camera who can like point the rear camera at me, get it all set up nicely, align everything. That's me. That's a small thing. It, you know, with enough practice and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely, you can make it work. There were just things about filming on my phone that I just wasn't loving, and I didn't love that it was my main phone is my main device, you know, my main phone, as if I have more than one. But like my phone is my phone. It's so multi-purpose, so multifunctional. And I really like the idea of having a completely separate device for filming videos so that my storage isn't being used up, that, you know, everything is in one easy to find place. Again, like small little things that there are workarounds to. Personally, I wanted a camera specifically. So what I bought myself was the Sony Cybershot HX80. This was, I don't think even the price is still on the box, but it was in the maybe high €200 range. So relatively budget friendly. By comparison, a lot of higher end cameras are at least €700–800. So this was a very budget friendly way to start an investment in this. I bought this after about a year of doing YouTube. So I wanted to make sure, before I went and bought anything, I wanted to make sure that it was something that I knew I enjoyed doing and I had every intention to continue doing. And I didn't want to go out and break the bank until I was like very confident of that. So I figured I'd start small with something kind of humble and budget friendly. And then over time, hopefully, you know, maybe this might even become a monetized hobby. And then I could kind of turn that money back and invest it in the channel itself and buy better equipment. Unfortunately, that has yet to happen. So I am still working off of my cheap little camera, and I'm going to be perfectly honest here in that I don't like this camera. While I enjoyed it a lot at the beginning, and it did what I needed it to do, it's not a very high quality camera. It doesn't have a lot of features on it, which is fine. I mean, I'm very much like, set it to automatic and, you know, let the camera tell you what settings you need. I have spent a lot of time researching this camera, researching the different settings, the different functions, and tinkering around with it myself and trying to get the best picture quality that I can, and consistently being disappointed. When I first bought it, I was living in a different house. I was constantly blessed with fantastic natural light in that house. The room I was filming in, I was always flooded with natural light. So it was absolutely fine then. It was grand. It wasn't until maybe a year later then that I went on aforementioned Disney World trip, and I was vlogging all day long. I was vlogging rides, I was vlogging morning to evening, and then I got home. I was working on the footage, I was uploading everything onto the editing, and I realized this camera does not perform in low light. So I had 2 weeks worth of vlogging footage that a significant amount of it had to go in the bin because it was just unusable. And then anything that didn't go in the bin, I just had to put it in the video and deal with it, because taking it out would have, you know, taken out a whole chunk of the video, would have taken out an ending of a video, would have taken out certain conversations. I would have sacrificed far too much if I had just binned everything that was low light, but unfortunately a lot of it had to go in the bin. And then when I moved into this house here, unfortunately I am not as blessed with natural light. I don't get a huge flood of it in on a regular basis. Today's lighting is terrific, thank God. But that's much more of a rarity now. That's much more of an exception to the rule. And most of the videos I filmed since moving in here, the picture quality is absolutely not what I want it to be. It is so far below what I want it to be, which is disappointing to me, because over time, and especially lately, I have been able to give my videos a lot more time and effort. I've been able to put more time into them, and I've been able to finesse editing skills and things like that. I have, like, my skills around it have improved, and I feel like I'm putting forward good content, but the picture quality immediately will shut me down on that. It's the first thing you see. So if it's bad picture quality, a lot of people might not stick around. So that's my biggest con with this camera. If you are working in perfectly good lighting, it's fine. It's a fine camera. It'll absolutely do your needs. For a little side by side here, I'm going to turn on my camera and I'm going to film myself. Where will you get a shot? There we go. So I have my camera right next to my phone here. Let's turn that around so you're not seeing my dressing gowns. So here we are, same shot. Thankfully, great natural light. I can do this in another room in the house as well later on for another side-by-side comparison, but like immediately look at that difference. Like the camera on the phone is diffusing the light nicely. It's everything's evenly lit and appropriately lit. The camera on the phone is not doing that. Everything's kind of in a sharper contrast. Don't love it. Another thing that I'm not too crazy about when it comes to this camera is that there is no external microphone option. There is only the built-in microphone in the camera. There's no jack or port or something to put an external microphone in, be that like a Bluetooth microphone that you wear on you or one that's actually just built on then, that's attached onto the camera. So you are reliant on the microphone built into the camera. Which again, in a lot of certain scenarios is fine. You know, sitting here, like right in front of a camera, perfectly fine, no problem. But if I want to put you over there and walk over here, you're not going to hear me because the microphone on the camera is not going to pick it up. So the only option if you want to use an external microphone with this camera is that you need to just record as you're filming and then try and sync up your audio and visual, which is an extra step. It's going to slow you down. It's going to be a bit tedious and annoying. If you want to do it, that's fine. Absolutely, no one's stopping you. As for pros of this camera, obviously, if you're filming yourself, you need to be able to see what you're filming. This has a flip-up screen, which is terrific. It's not kind of on like a snap hinge or anything that it can only be either open or closed. It can be at an angle as well. So if you want to film something down here for whatever reason, whatever shot you're setting up here, you can look at the camera here and see the shot that's down there. So I do really like that, and it is a decent sized screen as well. You have all your buttons here for messing around with your settings and things like that. And you can take photos on this as well. It's not just video, and then there's of course plenty of different settings at the top of the camera. What it would have that a phone wouldn't is that it has a built-in lens protector, so your lens is not going to get scratched or dirty or anything like that. If you're filming on your phone, you have to always remember to give your lens a wipe before you start filming. This, thankfully, you can just turn it on and you are good to go. Lens is fine. Zooms quite a bit. There are technical specs to all of this, but you know, you do have plenty of settings. You just need to know how to use them and what you're looking for, and you need to be able to understand the language of cameras and not accidentally turn it on every time you touch it. It's a very lightweight camera, which is also terrific. You're not dealing with like a huge, heavy camera. Those huge, heavy cameras are usually huge and heavy because they're very powerful. There's a lot going on internally, and that's why they're so big and heavy. But like that, if you are only starting out, you don't know what you're investing in, you're not very good with camera language, and you need something to actually practice and get better at least this is very manageable to do that on. You can pop it in your pocket. It fits in your pocket. It's very light. Comes with a nice little wrist strap on it for your peace of mind and safety, which I will use if I'm vlogging out and about. You could hold it like this. It's got a lovely little like holder here. great spot to pop your thumb and balance that. And then of course, obviously, if you're holding it on a tripod down here, that you could kind of loop through the wrist strap and hold the tripod, just for extra safety and extra security, that you're not going to drop it, or it's not going to topple, or worst case scenario, it's not going to go poof and off in somebody else's hands. So would I recommend a newbie buying this camera? It's just a very difficult question, because while I have my ups and downs with it and I have certain feelings about it, it is a perfectly functional camera. So like that, if you're like me, you're not keen on using your phone, but you don't have the money, or you want to pace yourself, or you know, you don't want to just dive right in and buy a €1,000 camera. This is a decent starting point. This is a very decent first camera. Just be mindful of the factors involved, that it's not good with low light. You need to really help it along with light. Even when it comes to natural versus artificial light, you will see a difference with this as well. That on certain dull days when I'm filming here and I'm not getting natural light in, and I've got the overhead light on, I've got my ring light on, there is still that grain and that noise on screen. Also as well, something to note is that it will only film in, I think it takes a maximum of a 30-minute file. So you will have to obviously remember to pause and start and whatever as you film. But what I've been finding with it, I don't know, is it something to do with the size of the video or something? I haven't figured it out yet. Is that if I go past kind of 10 minutes on one file, my audio visual will knock out of sync, which is annoying. I have figured out how to tweak it and fix it. Once it passes whatever point, it's never like it's never a set point. It's always just when it decides it's a certain size or whatever. So it's not like I can watch for like the 10-minute mark specifically. It's usually around that kind of mark that the camera will take a little pause, save what it's recorded so far, and continue recording. And with that working internally, breaking up those two files, the audio and visual lose their pairing. This is not an I hate this camera video, but what I do want to make sure that I'm getting across with this video is that while it's not a completely terrible waste of money camera, if you are looking for a budget-friendly camera, this is going to come up. This is going to be suggested. And please, please, please bear in mind that it's not perfect. That usually your phone will actually be a better picture quality. You do you. You spend your money however you want to spend your money. Don't let me tell you. I don't see an awful lot of people pointing out the negatives to this camera, of which there are. There are definitely negatives, and there are cons. There are things it doesn't do that I wish it would do, but it is in a low price point that to get those things out of a camera, you are jumping up another couple of €100. And if that's not something you can do right now, that's absolutely fine. It's not something I can do right now. Okay, just to illustrate the difference. So I am in my hallway. There are no windows in this hallway. I'm working fully on just like little bits of light coming through the doors that are mostly closed over. And this is what my phone is picking up. And this is what my camera is picking up. Guys, what? Okay, so it's the middle of the day. There is sunlight flowing through, cracks in the doors and stuff. Look at this difference. Now, of course, yes, let's play around with some settings on the camera. Let's turn that ISO up and down. So if I put this right to the brightest setting, okay, look at that delay. Look at how blurry that is. So this is like the footage that I was getting in Disney. There you go. It's Isn't that fun to watch? All right, we're back on to camera number 1 right now. So that was my rant. That was my little rant that I needed to get off my chest about this camera. Ultimately, like, it's fine. It's not the worst camera. You just need to really help it. You need to really, really help it along the way, and don't expect miracles. The last thing that I want to talk about in this whole process is editing. So you're going to need editing software. Once you've done your video, once you filmed it, you're going to need something to edit it on. This is a very huge, meaty topic. So when it comes to editing, firstly, you're going to need a decent computer. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular or amazing, but I did recently upgrade my laptop a year or 2 ago, because before that, the laptop I was using, it was old, it was very basic. It wasn't really able to keep up with the speed needed for your editing software and the graphics needed for your editing software. It really had its work cut out for it, and it was getting tired. So while, like, I am not by any means saying you need like some supercomputer magic huge thing, like, I think the one I bought was probably only maybe like €500, which is very mid for a laptop, very kind of like low mid for a laptop. So like not super expensive, but just make sure that it does have a decent amount of capabilities behind it. I was finding that laptops that are good for gaming actually translate very well to editing. They kind of use a lot of the same specs and they need the same things, because you need decent memory, you need decent like processing speeds, and then a decent graphics card is no harm either, just so that you can see well what you're working on. But it doesn't have to be super fancy. Probably whatever you have will be fine. Just if you are looking to get a new computer or a new laptop anytime soon, that you know, and you're doing this, they are certain factors you might want to bear in mind. As far as in the editing software, you have so many choices out there. There are so many free editing softwares, which are great places to start. Again, there's no point in buying and committing to something if you don't know you're gonna like it. I have used plenty of free ones. I cycled through a few of them. You're gonna probably wanna do that just to figure out how you like to edit and what works well for you and what features and tools that you feel you need. Try them out. I think the most recent one that I was using that was free was Lightworks, and I did like that. There's a lot of good things to be said about free editing softwares, like the fact that you can try them out, you don't have to commit to anything. If you are watching your budget, that you're not subscribing to some new thing that's another €20 a month or whatever. I always found that I was kind of just missing 1 or 2 things that I felt I really needed on those editing softwares, and then I switched to Adobe Premiere Pro and I haven't looked back. It's my favorite. I love it. It's an investment in the production of these videos. I want to do the best quality videos I can do. If that means paying for the best editing software that I have access to, that's fine. I will happily take that, because it really is a terrific software. I know it's very, very popular. So if you have a little extra money that you want to spend on software for editing, absolutely check out Adobe, because they are great, and you can package things up then. If you have even more money and you want to do a bundle, you can bundle in things like Photoshop and whatever. So you have all the tools and tricks at your disposal and you can bundle them all up together. I just pay for the one thing, so it's about €25 for me. It's all very clean. It's very user-friendly. There are countless tutorials online. There's the Adobe forums, and then there's obviously tons and tons of people making YouTube tutorials about how to do different things, so you'll very rarely be stuck on something. Okay, my sore throat cannot handle me filming any longer, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video was helpful. If you are looking for equipment or anything like that to start a YouTube channel, or if you already have stuff and you're just curious what other people are using, I hope this was interesting. As I mentioned, if you'd like to support my livelihood a little bit, you can buy a candle on Etsy. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. You can also, if you'd like, subscribe to the Patreon for this channel, patreon.com/Fiona Malloy. Very simple. There are 3 different tiers there, so hopefully there'll be something to your fancy. I am kind of focusing a lot on Disney related content on there, so if that's something that you're following me for, head on over there. You're not going to want to miss out. We do a trivia quiz every 2 weeks, so every second Wednesday night we do a live stream Disney trivia night. So if that's something you're interested in, you definitely want to head on over and sign up to that and help me out there. You will also get thanked in my videos like these wonderful people on your screen right now. If you don't have any spare cash to help support, that is totally fine too. If that's the case, just make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you are liking the videos, sharing with people you think might be interested in them, leaving me a comment down below. Just engage with that video, just click those buttons on your screen, and that is going to tell YouTube that, hey, this video is worth watching. Maybe show it to more people. Maybe let's make more friends online here. So either way, you're helping me out. Thank you so much. And hey, if you're sick of all this like fuzzy videos, then, you know, if you're subscribed to Patreon, you know, you could be contributing to a new camera, maybe. Hopefully someday. All right, bye. Okay. I'm gonna stop arsing about and move on to the next thing. What's my next thing?